بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. So inshallah we'll be going through the المقدمة of Mishkaat المصابيح. So we have the book here, Mishkaat المصابيح, and we go to the المقدمة in which the author explains what he has done in his process regarding the structure of this book. Okay, Bismillah. So the author's name, who's the person whose quotation we have right now, his name is Abu Abdullah محمد بن عبد الله الخطيب العمري التبريزي. So he's known as Khatib al-Tabrizi. That is, so in Urdu it's Tabriz, in Arabic it's Tabrizi. Yes? So Khatib, so he passed away in 741. Yes? So he's saying the next part. He wrote this book, and then in the introduction he explains what happened behind the book, the purpose behind the book, and the story behind the book. Okay? So if you say Khatib al-Tabrizi, that's fine. But his name is Abu Abdullah Muhammad ibn Abdullah al-Khatib al-Umari al-Tabrizi. He says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, wa bihi nasta'een. Ista'ana, to seek help. Wa bihi, he's referring to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we seek help. Alhamdulillah, praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's lots of people do lots of commentary. Alhamdulillah, wa hamdan, thanaa, and all that. We get Jalalain, inshallah. Wa nahmaduhu, we all praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa nahmaduhu, and we praise Him. Wa nasta'inuhu, we seek Allah's help. Wa nastaghfiruhu, we ask Him for forgiveness. ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا. We seek Allah's refuge from the evil shurur, the shar, the evil of our souls, our base desires. ومن سيئات أعمالنا. So سيئات أعمالنا. So if you look at it here, سيئات is basically this is a sifa, this is an adjective. سيئات سيئة. And أعمالنا is that's a mawsuf. So we say it is إضافة الموصوف إلى الصفة. Yes, or إضافة الصفة للموصوف, actually, not إضافة الموصوف. إضافة this is wrong. إضافة الصفة إلى الموصوف. I got it opposite way wrong. So the صفة is becoming مضاف to the أعمال. And it means أعمالنا السيئة. So we seek Allah's refuge from our evil deeds. Right? Yes, you got it. So this is one way of doing it. سيئات أعمالنا, our evil deeds. Another opinion is no, it's not a sifa. They're both actually mudaf ilayh, meaning actually nouns, things. So we have a'mal, and within a'mal we have sayyi'at. So the evil deeds within our deeds. Yeah, so we have all our deeds, and this is evil deeds. So from amongst all of our deeds, the wrong that we have done, we seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's refuge from those that the dhulma, the darkness, the evil consequences that come with these, we seek refuge from those. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu. Hada yahdi, to guide. So whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, shart, fala mudilla lahu. La li nafil jins, mudilla lahu. There is no misguider for him. This is maf'ul bihi. This is maf'ul bihi of mudilla. So this is shart, jawabu shart. Yes, so he's refers to man. So whomsoever Allah guides, there is no one. La li nafil jins, there is no one to. Sorry, I made a mistake. This is not maf'ul bihi. This is a khabar. It can maf'ul bihi as well, but it's easy to make it a khabar. فَلَا مُضِلَّ لَهُ. Yes? So you can do two ways. One is maf'ul bihi. So فَلَا مُضِلَّ لَهُ, and the khabar is mawjoodun. There's no one, مُضِلَّ لَهُ, someone to misguide him is not present, not exist. So if whoever Allah guides, there's no one to misguide him present. Or you can make it the khabar and say this is the ism, this is the khabar. There's no misguider for him, and this is the khabar. So both ways you can do it. For him, everybody following online? Yes, you guys following? Yes? Ji. Then you say here, وَمَنْ يُدْلِلْ فَلَا هَادِيَ لَهُ. And whoever Allah misguides, then there is no one to guide him. Or you can do both i'rab in here, فَلَا هَادِيَ لَهُ. Correct? وَأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. So I testify, what do I testify? That there is no God, ilaha, there is no God except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Correct? This is now the maf'ulun bihi. I testify, what do I testify of? This fact. La ilaha, there is no ilah, meaning no God worthy of worship. There are gods, like those idols and everything, but not worthy of being called gods. Meaning la ilaha bihaqqin. Any true God. Yes? Because they are, like, wherever you make, if you want to make this pen into a God, you can. It won't become a God, but if your God isn't it. So the word ilah is used for this one. It's not the real God. So La ilaha bihaqqin, there's no true God except there's no one worthy of worship. That's what we always say in translation. There's no one worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then this becomes the maf'ul al-mutlaq. So I testify to this fact, and this is maf'ul mutlaq of no, how. For him. So I testify to this fact in such a way. تكون للنجاة وسيلة. This is now the khabar of takunu, and للنجاة is now the that's linked to the wasila. فهمت? So I testify to this fact in such a way, I give such a testimony which becomes a means of, najat means salvation, safety. فهمت? You got it? And now here, so this is maf'ul mutlaq. So this is actually now man'ut, and then this becomes the not. This becomes the not, and in not you have ma'tuf alayhi ma'tuf. So I testify in such a way which becomes a means of means of salvation and a surety, a guarantee of darajat. What does darajatun mean? Stages, levels being elevated, i.e. in Jannah. So I testify, and in my testifying to this fact that there is no one except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I hope to be saved, and I hope that my status in Jannah are elevated. For him. Is that clear, everybody online? Yes? Acha. He goes on. وأشهد, I also testify. محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. That Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his messenger, his servant and his messenger. And then الذي بعثه is a not of عبده or ورسوله. So I testify that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his servant and his messenger. الذي بعثه, whom, the who is the first of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, whom Allah sent. And you can go down, there's a few parts in between. No, I leave it on here. Yeah. Whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent. Who did he send? I ba'athahu ila nasi. Whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to the people. It's not there, but that's what it means. Okay? Yes, everybody following so far? Then after that, we have waw haliya. Wa. Waw is haliya. And then turuqu. Tariqun jama, turuq, path. So we translate whilst. Or we can say at a time. Either translation will be what? At a time. So we testify that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Allah's servant and his messenger, whom Allah sent to the people, understood, at a time. Iman, turuqul iman, when? At a time or when? Turuqul iman, the paths of iman. So the paths of iman, قد أفت آثارها, and the hazami refers back to the turuq. At a time when the paths, when the athar, the remnants, the signs, the remains. Athar is like you leave an athar, like a whatever you do and whatever is left after the action. So if I write on the board, this is my athar of my writing. Yes, you fell on the floor and it's all mud. That's athar of the falling. So athar means the remnants, the remains, the signs. So Anbiya came, and after the Anbiya, few generations left, stayed on the faith, and then all went deviation again. So when the Prophet ﷺ was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at that time, the paths of Iman, the remnants, the effects, so the Athar had been erased. Had erased. There was no effect. Afa ya'fu, Allahumma afu anna. Why? You erase my sins. And there's other meanings of Afa has been. Understood? Acha. وخبت أنوارها. Khaba yakhbu is used to die out, but only for fire. You can't say khabar rajul. I mean khabat in-nar. كلما خبت زدناهم سعيرا, to die out. It's all atf now. This is atf. Wow, atifa. So at a time when the paths of Iman were erased and the nur of those paths had extinguished, died out. You can no longer see those paths. Where is Hidayah? Where do we get to our destination? The paths are all missing. ووهنت أركانها, and the athar, the signs, wahana, inni wahana al-azmu, become weak. And arkan is column support. So we call it arkanu salah, because if you don't have the pillars, what happens to the building? It collapses. So arkan of salah, you have to have those rukn. If not, what happens? Salah collapses, it doesn't exist anymore. So arkan means the columns, the support. So the columns of those athar and those remnants became weak. Fahim? Everybody following? وجهل, you can say وجهل مكانها. Do you have any harakat on yours? If you say jahila, there's no fa'il mentioned here. What do you have in yours? Anybody in yours? Is jahila or juhila in yours? Yeah, juhila. It has jahila here. But it would juhila because juhila, there's no fa'il mentioned before. So juhila makanuha, we would say here. And its places, meaning where the path. You know, like nowadays you have a road, isn't it? But if you don't have a road, you got a path and you don't use it for a long time, what happens? The rocks at the side of the road, which became were marks, those get mixed with other rocks. The grass overgrows it. The sand goes over it. We can't tell anymore where the walking paths are. No, you got park and nobody uses that road. So juhila makanuha and the athar, the turuqul iman. In I'm saying refer to athar, it can also refer to all of these. Can also refer to turuqul iman. That's probably better actually, turuq. So the nur of those turuq became extinguished. The arkan of those turuq became weak. And the places of those turuq, where these places are, where is this hidayah? He's using the Ihna Sirat al-Mustaqim metaphor. Yes. So when the Prophet ﷺ, I testify that Muhammad is a messenger, and Allah sent him when this happened in the 6th century. And then what happened? فشيد. The Jumla Mu'taraza, صلوات الله وسلامه عليه من معالمها ما أفا. Then the Prophet ﷺ, صلوات الله وسلامه عليه, he shayyada is to strengthen something, to plaster something. Qasrim mashid, very firm, strong buildings, palaces. So shayyada, when you plaster something, it becomes like when you have bricks. And then we just have the cement in between. But that's what you shayyada, you plaster in between. Or you plaster over, makes it stronger, firmer. In the old time days, you get bricks, you put it together, brocks, not brocks. Bricks and rocks become brocks. You put the bricks or the rocks together, you have to then put the cement in between to make it strong. Yes? So for Shayyad, the Prophet ﷺ, he strengthened. What did he strengthen? We have here, ma afa is a maf'ul bihi, and this becomes a bayan. This is min bayaniya. And this becomes a hal in Arab. This is already in Wusta. So the Prophet ﷺ strengthened, and you have ma and the min bayaniya. So he strengthened those marks, those signs which had become what? Wiped out, erased. So the Prophet came now and in, again, metaphor of Sirat al-Mustaqim again. He came, he removed all the bid'ah, all the shirk, he plugged out all the grass, he put the rocks again properly so we can tell, oh, this is, no, so you have a path this way. So then what happened? You put the rocks, you got rocks here, you got rocks here, so you know, okay, it goes to here. For him, so he made the rocks all, like, when all the thinking, all grass grew over it, you can't see the rocks, you can't see the path, it's all, so now, wherever had become wiped out, he made it firm. Wherever became wiped out, he made it firm. وشفى من العليل في تأييد كلمة التوحيد من كان على شفا. It's a big explanation now. وشفى من العليل في تأييد كلمة التوحيد من كان على شفا. Let's go through the vocabulary first, then we'll go through the structure later on. And he cured. Who's the fa'il? The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Shafa, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he cured. What did he cure from? Alil, illness. So alil is the ism al-fa'il, but it can also have the meaning of illness. Fi ta'yidi, ta'yid means ayyada, to strengthen something. Ulil aid, strength. Ulil aidi wal abasar. So aid means here, strength. Kalimat al-tawheed is the word of tawheed, word of oneness, meaning tawheed. Man kana ala shafa, who was on the brink. Yes, you got the vocabulary? How do you structure this? Man kana ala shafa. Shafa means brink. So who was on the brink of destruction? وَكُنْتُمْ عَلَى شَفَا حُفْرَةٍ مِّنَ النَّارِ. You're on the brink of destruction and the brink of the fire of Jahannam. The Prophet never came, then you would all just go in the fire of Jahannam because you have no guidance. The Prophet came and he cured those who were on the brink of destruction or the brink of Jahannam. And he cured them from what? He cured them from illness. Now, في تأييد كلمة التوحيد. What does that become? في تأييد كلمة التوحيد. It can become hal min al-fa'il. Are you following? What does this mean? That this becomes the hal of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is the mean basically. Yes? So, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam whilst being in the strength of kalimat al-tawheed, he cured those people. So this is describing the Prophet ﷺ. So the Prophet ﷺ, he cured man kana ala shafa from illness, whilst he himself was in, so even though ta'im is strength, he was here, not strengthening, but strength, whilst he was in the strength or in the strength of tawheed. That's a bit, but you get how it would work? Yes, this is zarf mustaqar, and this zarf mustaqar becomes the hal of the fa'il. Second possibility is maf'ul lahu. So the maf'ul lahu of the fa'il. So the Prophet ﷺ cured those who are on the brink of destruction from illness. Why? Here fi means in, I too. And what's the benefit of this then? So that him, along with his companions, who were man kana la shafa, they can all do now what? Ta'yeed, kalimat tawheed. They can strengthen the word of unity and monotheism throughout the entire world. So this can become now the maf'ul lahu of shafa. That fits a bit easier. Yes? So the Prophet ﷺ, he cured whoever was on the brink of tawheed, brink of destruction, or the brink of Jahannam, so they could strengthen the kalimat tawheed. Or this can also be the ala, the tool. The Prophet ﷺ cured who was on the brink of destruction from illnesses with what? Strengthening the by means of. So not to, but rather by means of. By means of strengthening the word of monotheism. Nonetheless, we know the maqsood. This is different possibilities. Yes? Maf'un fihi, how is maf'un fihi mean? He cured them from illness. Yeah, I'm not sure how we translate this one. But nonetheless, these two seem to be the better one, and this seems to be the best possibility. Yes? Acha. And this here, man kana ala shafa. So previously he was using the metaphor of ihdinas siratal mustaqim. And now he mentioned the word doing ishara towards وَكُنْتُمْ عَلَى شَفَا حُفْرَةٍ مِّنَ النَّارِ فَأَنْقَذَكُم مِّنْهَا. You were on the brink of the fire of Jahannam, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, via the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he saved you. So you got that much then so far? We're continuing. وَأَوْضَحَ سَبِيلَ الْهِدَايَةِ لِمَنْ أَرَادَ أَنْ يَسْلُكَهَا. The paths were all wiped out and erased. Now the Prophet came and he cleaned up. He made it very clear. Via the Quran, via the Sunnah, via the Ahadith, via the teaching, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he made the paths of guidance very clear. It's very easy. But who for whom? Whoever wants to go to that destination, Jannah, the paths that were all erased and illuminated, it has become dark and it had wiped out, they've all now become very clear. Whoever wishes, arada an yaslukaha, whoever wishes to thread this path. You understand? وَأَظْهَرَ كُنُوزَ السَّعَادَةِ. And he disclosed, he brought forth, he showed the treasures. Again, you see the metaphor. You're on the path, what do you find? There's treasures there. So he showed, these are some treasures. Yes? What kind of treasures? Not gold and silver, but rather treasure of eternal bliss and fortune. And he brought forth, he made clear, he opened up, he showed the treasures of eternal bliss for the one قَصَدَ أَن يَمْلِكَهَا, who intends to يَمْلِكَهَا, who intends to يَمْلِكَهَا, to take ownership of that treasure. So if you want it, it's there, but it's up to you if you want it or not. The path is there, do you want to thread it or not? So the path is clear for the one who wants to thread it. The treasures have been brought here. This is the treasures of eternal bliss, monotheism, good character, good manners, all of these things. But ibadat. Fahim? You following? Everybody following so far? That's basically, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. But obviously, to make the introduction more interesting, he adds on sifat and na'at. So it matches the book and the purpose of the book. You understand? So basically he always says, nahmaduhu wa nasalli ala rasulil kareem. Hamd and salat and salam. But he added on the sifat, so it kind of gives you a purpose of understand what his goal is of this book. That's a bit of, not itnab, it's itnab, but it's not tatweel. It has faida in this. Yes? Achha. Amma ba'd. Then he says here, okay, going forward, فَإِنَّ التَّمَسُّكَ, tamassaka is to hold fast. The Prophet ﷺ says, إِنِّي تَرَكْتُمْ فِيكُمْ أَمْرَيْنِ لَوْ تَمَسَّكْتُمْ بِهِمَا لَن تَضِلُّوا. I have left amongst you two things. If you hold fast to these things, masaka, to hold, and tamassaka, bab tafa'ul ta'kid, to hold. If you hold on. So, فَإِنَّ التَّمَسُّكَ بِحَدِّهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم. This is صلى الله عليه وسلم. So holding fast to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's way, hadi, his way and his method, لا يستتب is not correct, not possible. Is not possible or not correct. إلا بالاقتفاء. اقتفاء means to follow. قفا يقفو. So قف is actually back of the head. قفا. And اقتفاء means to follow. So holding fast to the sunnah of Rasul, holding fast to the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is only possible or only correct by, we say only because this is la and illa together means the meaning of only. Only possible or only correct by following the sunnah. So all this means here, by following the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Instead of saying a simple way, he said, lima sadara. Sadara means to emanate, to come out. Literally, sadara means when camels go to water and they drink and they return back. So return is also has the meaning of sadara means to return. They go to, the camels are coming, they go to the water, they drink and then they come back out. Yes? That's called sadara. So it can mean to come out, return. All of these meanings here mean. So if you say emanate, different makharij. According to the Qira'ah of Barbados and Qira'ah of England, different pronunciations. Okay? So holding fast to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is only possible, is only correct by following ma sadara min mishkaat. This means not bayaniya. This means not bayaniya. This means the maf'ul fi of sadara. Yes? It's not bayaniya. It's only possible by following what has emanated from the niche of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So what's a niche? This is A. This is called A. What's this? A? Not trick question. A candle, known as a misbah. Known as a misbah. Correct? And this thing around it here, what's that called? A mishkaat. That's called a mishkaat. A niche. That's where you put the, what do? You put the candle, and then it stays there and gives you a nice light. So basically saying here, so what comes out from his mishkaat? So obviously, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, you can say, well, you can say, well, the Prophet's heart, the Prophet's heart, his chest. Yes? So maybe the Prophet's heart is the candle, Prophet's chest is the mishkaat, the tashbih, the simile he's giving. Nonetheless, you have to follow what comes out from the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, his ta'limat and his teachings. You understand? And then we'll continue from here tomorrow, inshallah. Subhanallah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. So moving on, the next sentence is والاعتصام. Actually, this is not right. It's supposed to be. This is not what's supposed to be. والاعتصام. You could do اعتصام, but it's best to make it عطفا. إن التمسك والاعتصام. That's عطفا إن. You can do اعتصام as well. It's not wrong, but it's probably better to say اعتصام. So, اعتصم يعتصم اعتصاما is holding fast. And what's he taking? What's he alluding to? Quranic verse: وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. Hold on to the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So meaning hold on to the Quran. The person, he is drowning. So what does he need? He needs a rope. Climbing a mountain, you have a rope. So a rope is something used as a metaphor for safety, protection. So hold fast to the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So using this verse, he's saying, and holding fast to the rope of Allah. لا يتم إلا it can only be complete. La illah can only be complete. Be bayan. Bayan means explaining, explanation. And kashfihi refers to disclosures of or tafsir. Yes, kashafa yakshifu kashfan, to open up. So holding fast to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So habl means literally it means rope, but here it means a book. It refers to the book of Allah, as known from the tafsir of this verse. So holding fast to the book of Allah is only complete with explaining, so with its discourses being explained. It's disclosure, it's tafsir. So kashf means tafsir. So it's tafsir being explained. And kashfihi, it can be idafatul masdar ila al-fa'il or idafatul masdar ila al-maf'ul bihi. It can be kashf al-Quran, so meaning the habl. So holding fast to the book of Allah can only be complete with the Quran's tafsir being explained. Or the who can refer to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, idafatul masdar ila al-fa'il. And the Prophet and holding fast to the book of Allah can only be complete with the Prophet's explanation, the Prophet's tafsir the Prophet's tafsir of the Prophet's explanation of the tafsir, and then the maf'ul bihi will be the Quran mahdhuf. Fahim? This doesn't really make a difference really, but that's the meaning of it. Meaning you can only follow the Quran, the Sunnah. You can only hold fast to the Prophet's hadith, his way, when we hold fast to his Sunnah. Or we can only hold fast to the Quran when we have the meaning of the Quran. And the Quran's meaning is come via the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now he's saying here, so far so good. So he wants to explain the ahadith. Then he's saying here, وَكَانَ كِتَابُ الْمَصَابِيح, the book Masabih. And then here, this is the khabar. أَجْمَأَ كِتَابٍ. Yes, so in between is a bit of a blank, not blank, but there's a few spaces. That's jumla mu'tarida. And the khabar is أَجْمَأَ كِتَابٍ سُنِّفَ فِي بَابِهِ وَأَضْبَطَ لِشَوَارِدِ الْأَحَادِيثِ وَأَوَابِدِهَا. For him, and in between now he has here, who wrote this book? It's got a bit of a jumla mu'tarida in between. Do you understand the shortcut tarkib? Yes, everybody follow tarkib online? On site? Okay. So, the Masabih, so he said the book Masabih is this. We'll explain the sifa of the Masabih later on. But in between he explains what is the Masabih. Which, the book of Masabih, so Masabih or Masabih Sunnah, so Masabih Sunnah is the candles of the Sunnah. So is written by Alladhi Sannafahu, the book which the Imam Muhyi, to give life, but we say here reviver. Muhyi Sunnah, the reviver of the Sunnah, and Qami'ul Bid'ah. But Bid'ah is innovations, and Qami' means to uproot or means to curb or suppress. So the book Kitab al-Masabih, which the Imam, the reviver of the Sunnah, the one who suppressed and curbed all these Bid'ah, Abu Muhammad Hussein ibn Mas'ud al-Farra al-Baghawi, wrote, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is now another jumla mu'tarida within the mu'tarida, and this is a jumla to du'a'iyya. The dua within the whole main jumla. Understood? This is a dua, so jumla mu'tarida is from here until here. And within jumla mu'tarida we have another jumla mu'tarida, du'a'iyya. Understood? Yes. So, the Kitabul Masabih was the most comprehensive, in his opinion. In his opinion, obviously, only Allah knows. But in his opinion, meaning Tabarizi's opinion, rahmatullahi alayh, his opinion was the most comprehensive book, Sannafa, compiled. Fi babihi means in that chapter, meaning in that subject. Meaning, in the books of hadith, you have one which is basically, you have the books, Kutub al-Sitta, one of Asanid, they're very long, of Asanid. So in there, sometimes the purpose of those books is not necessarily to just convey the meaning of the hadith, it's to also convey the Asani, the chain. That Fulan narrated it, this word has a slight difference, this chain has a slight difference, this chain has one extra narrator, one narrator is missing, this is the weaker chain, this is the stronger chain. So in some of those, the maqasid is, along with the matan along the text is the actual chain of narrators. And for a muqtadi or somebody who's not into the field of trying to figure out the sahih and the saqim, the strong hadith, I just want to understand the meaning of the hadith. You need one that doesn't have all these asanid. So you have different books like that. So in that bab, in that subject, where you have a simple book of hadith, without all these chains, without going into the chain part of the hadith, just the meaning part of the hadith, this seems to be the most comprehensive book compiled in this subject. Okay? So now he's not talking about his book, he's talking about this book. So now we need the sunnah, yes? We need the sunnah to practice the Prophet ﷺ sunnah. We need to know the ahadith to practice on the Prophet's way. We need the ahadith to practice on the Quran, to understand the Quran. Now, he's saying, so what do we do going forward? Going forward, the Masabih, which Muhyi Sunnah, Imam Baghawi rahmatullahi alayhi wrote, was the most comprehensive book that I came across in this chapter. وَعُضْبَةَ لِشَوَارِدِ الْأَحَادِيثِ وَأَوَابِدِهَا. Now, ضَبَطَ يَضْبِطُ, I didn't write here, means to confine, restrict, collect, gather. شَرَدَ يَشْرُدُ شَرْدًا شُرُودًا شِرَادًا is used for شَرَدَ الْبَئِيرُ شَرَدَ الْإِبِلُ إِذَا نَفَرَ وَاسْتَعْصَ. When it flees, it bolts, it goes out of the control. It's like hard to control. You say شَرَدَ الْإِبِل. Are you following? So you have شَوَارِدِ الْأَحَادِيثِ. What does شَوَارِدِ الْأَحَادِيث mean? شَوَارِدِ الْأَحَادِيث, you've done a balagha already. This is min babi lujayn al-ma. Or for our example is shayateen al-insi wal-jinn. And we studied before, you have a tashbih, a simile. or similitude, or this is in English a metaphor here. When we're comparing one thing to the other. Because Zaydun kal asad, Zayd is like a lion. But sometimes the idafa, one type of tashbihun baligh, where you have a metaphor, you have a simile, you compare two things, you can do it via idafa. Remember this? You can do it via idafa, where the mudaf ilay is being compared to the mudaf ilay is being compared to the mudaf. So really this is basically the mushabbahun. This is the mushabbahun bihi. This is the mushabbah. Yes? Mushabbahun. Correct? So, the ahadith which are like bolted animals. Meaning it's like, oh, how do we get all these, so many ahadith? There's one in Bukhari, hadith comes here, it comes here, it comes here. These are all just like, these hadiths are run away from us. How do we get them together and bring them under our control? So, this book brings all the hadiths under control. It brings it into us in one chapter, one bab. You following? Similarly, awabidi has similar structure as well. Abada ya'budu, ya'bidu ubudan means tawahasha in qata, same meaning here. So, you can say here, while to flee. So, let's go again. So the book Kitab al-Masabih, written by Baghawi, was the most comprehensive book written in this chapter. And it compiles, it gathers. I don't want to use the wrong word for hadith. I say wayward hadith is the fault of the hadith. But you mean here, the dispersed ahadith. So it is the most comprehensive book written in this subject, and the one which compiles and gathers dispersed. Because shawarid al-ahadith wa awabidiha, shawarid awabid means the same thing. Yes? So we see here, which gathers dispersed ahadith. So dispersed meaning like is mutafarriq, spread all over the place. So ahadith are mentioned in different place. This book brings them under one place. So it makes it easier to find a hadith you want. You understand? Make sense? Everybody following so far? So now he's talking about this book. So who's this book, Masabih? Who's Baghawi? Let's sidetrack a bit. So here, the author, who he's talking about here is called Abu Muhammad al-Husayn ibn Mas'ud ibn Muhammad al-Farra al-Baghawi. His name is al-Farra al-Baghawi. Okay, his name is al-Farra al-Baghawi. Now, he's called Farra because it says that his family to deal in skin, in the fur. When you have fur and skin of animals, that was the trade. So he used to get, that was how he used to make money. He was Farra. But he's normally known as Baghawi. And some say Baghawi is part of the Iran, Afghanistan, that area, Khorasan, is a city called Baghshur. I don't know how to pronounce, I'm just guessing the pronunciation. So from Baghshur or Bagh, he became Baghawi. So from Bagh. For him, this again, they're not Arabs, these are just all from Khorasan, Afghanistan, that area. So his name is Baghshur al-Khorasan. Okay, so far so good? Now he wrote the book Masabih al-Sunnah. Which book did he write? Masabih al-Sunnah. Now in Masabih al-Sunnah, what did he do? He did the same thing. He got multiple ahadith from different books. He put them in a good structure, a good tartib. And what he done was, he got 5 books. He got Sahih Muslim, Imam Bukhari Sahih and Muslim 2 Sahih. And then he got Sunnah Tirmidhi, Sunnah Nasa'i and Sunnah Abu Dawood. He got those 3. And then what he done, he said, I'm going to make 2 chapters. I'm going to make a chapter called Siha. It's not like exact terminology. His own way of doing it. He's like Siha and you have Hisan. So any book from Bukhari and Muslim, this is the Fasl al-Awwal. He didn't call it Fasl al-Awwal because Siha and Hisan. So any hadith from Bukhari and Muslim regarding, let's say for example, virtues of Umrah. Yes? He will say for example, Fadail Umrah min as-Siha. So any riwayah in Bukhari and Muslim regarding the virtues of Umrah, he'll put it under the Siha. And any hadith regarding At-Tirmidhi, regarding the virtues of Umrah, from Tirmidhi and Nasa'i and Abu Dawood, he put it in the Hisan. So he had 2 fasal, 2 sections. That was his best thing. And then he got all the main chapters. His structure was very good. Kitab al-Iman, then the Ibadat, then the Mu'amalat, then Nikah, then Fitan, and it's very, people like the structure. It's a good structure. Very similar to Imam Bukhari's structure. Okay? He's also got another book called معالم. And we use in Furqan, you see his tafsir used a lot. معالم التنزيل Baghawi. It's good to know because sometimes have different people from different, just because they have the same last name, Baghawi, doesn't mean they're all the same. Yes, you have Nasafi. There are many Nasafis. For him, so you have, he's the same person who wrote Masabih Sunnah, and he wrote also Tafsir al-Baghawi. So Allah has given him a lot of qabul. His book, his Masabih Sunnah, is maqbool, and his tafsir is also very maqbool. Many people write books, but sometimes it doesn't go. Allah's taqdeer. He's also got a book called Sharh Sunnah, which is very similar to the Masabih Sunnah, but it's not just a hadith, it's got more commentary on it, it's got more chains, etc. So we're not using that one, we're using the Masabih Sunnah. Okay? Okay? This one I think I made a mistake in here. That's not his book. It's not his book. Okay? NJ. Acha. So this bottom part here, ignore this bottom part. Yeah, that's a mistake. Acha. So now that's Imam Baghawi. How does Tabrizi link up to this one? So the teacher of Tabrizi, his name is Imam At-Tibi. He's got his long name, but his name was Imam Tibi. Okay? So his teacher, Imam Tibi, he said, again, he's being humble, he's a teacher, he said, I took mashura from my brother in religion, which is Tabrizi, meaning his student. So he took advice and they discussed things, and they talked regarding Jam'i Aslim min al-Ahadith al-Mustafawiyya. That we need to compile a set of ahadith, and then he wants to write the Sharah as well. So Imam Tibi wants to write a Sharah of hadith. But which book should I use? Bukhari is very long, and in Bukhari, like, there's many, the chains. So your focus goes onto the chains, the narrations, what's Imam Bukhari trying to say, what he's trying to prove. He brings hadith in this chapter, what's the point of that? It goes on into that direction. He wanted to do Sharah of the hadith. So the two of them had a discussion, and they come to the conclusion that we are going to use the Masabih, the candle, the Masabih Sunnah, and we'll add on some stuff which he should have brought in the Bab. So he did a good job doing Kitab al-Iman. But some hadiths regarding Kitab al-Iman, he missed out some of them. Are you following? So what we'll do, we'll get his Masabih and put it into a Mishkaat. Now may I see the picture I had? And our Mishkaat with so it's called Mishkaat al-Masabih. So you see the wordplay. So we have now, the book of Shams of Tabrizi is now is a Mishkaat, the niche for the Masabih Sunnah of Imam Baghawi. So Imam Baghawi's, remember he had two chapters, Siha and Hisan. He's called Al-Fasl al-Awwal and Al-Fasl al-Thani. That is now the Masabih. And the Mishkaat is now the Fasl al-Thalith. You get it? So as if the Masabih Sunnah is embedded, is placed into the Mishkaat al-Masabih, the Mishkaat. You understand how he named the book? It's a very deep name. You follow him online? How the name works? Yes. For him, so that's why he wrote this. And then the Ustaz TV, he's got one of the first Sharah on Mishkaat al-Masabih. It's called Al-Kashifu and Haqaiq al-Sunan, I think. Yes, it's called Sharh al-Tibi and Mishkaat. So he wrote the Sharah on his student's compilation. Do you understand? You following? Yes? So Tibi's got a Sharah. We'll go to Shurur later on. And afterwards, what he says here, if you go to the end of your books, I'm not showing your copy, but and then the Maktabat al-Bushra copies, at the end, there's a book called Al-Ikmal fi Asma'ir Rijal. Yes? Al-Ikmal fi Asma'ir Rijal. So what he's done, Tabrizi, is that he said that my teacher helped me, Shaykh, his teacher, meaning Imam Tibi, he helped me. What did they do? They compiled a small, what do you call it, tarjama. Tarjama is basically a brief biography, a brief introduction. So any Sahabi, any Sahabiya, any Imam mentioned in Mishkaat, at the end, his name is mentioned. That's called Al-Ikmal fi Asma'ir Rijal. Have you seen it at the end of your book? The bookshop copies at the end of it, you'll find it. So they also combine that together, Imam Tibi, etc. And he says, both times, when I wrote the Mishkaat al-Masabih, and when I wrote the Ikmal fi Asma'ir Rijal, Arastuhu alayhi, I presented to my teacher, and he said, mashallah, very good, well done, good job. So the Ikmal fi Asma'ir Rijal is at the end of our copies, and along with this, Tibi, when the Mishkaat was complete, he wrote a Sharh on the student's compilation of Mishkaat. For him, everybody following the structure? So that's why he goes on and he says now. Now, what happened in Masabih Sunnah? So that was the most comprehensive book. وَلَمَّا سَلَكَ, who Salaka referred to? Al-Baghawi. So Al-Baghawi, لَمَّا سَلَكَ الْبَغَوِي رضي الله عنه طريق الاختصار. It wasn't very long, very comprehensive. وَحَزَفَ الْأَسَانِيدَ وَالسَّحَابِ. He didn't mention the sanad, like حدثنا فلان قال حدثنا فلان قال حدثنا فلان. There's no sanad. Similarly, he didn't say the Sahabi's name, no Abu Hurairah, no Abdullah ibn Umar, no Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in. It is saying, Qala Rasulullah, Qala Rasulullah, Qala Rasulullah. So no chain, where is it from, where, we don't know. You just have Min al-Siha, these, Min al-Hisan, these. Which book is it in, who narrated it, we don't know. So he made it very brief, that was the whole point of the book. He wasn't there to give you a so he said, because since Imam Baghawi rahmatullahi alayhi, he threaded a path of brevity and he removed the asanid along with the including Sahabi. What did I do? تكلم فيه بعض النقاد. So naqid, plural, nuqad means critics. So some critics تكلم and spoke regarding this. Like, what's this? Who is this? Qala Rasulullah. Where is this? So he's saying, so when he done this, some this is jawab of this is lamma linked to lamma. When he done this, some critics criticize him. Takallama criticize him. And he's saying there's no need for that. وَإِن كَانَ نَقْلُهُ كَالْإِسْنَادِ وَإِنَّهُ مِنَ الثِّقَاتِ. This is Jumla Mu'tariza again. إِنَّهُ al-Baghawi. This is al-Baghawi. This is Baghawi. Meaning he's saying here, look, Imam Baghawi is a scholar. So when he's saying it's from the Sihah, he's taken Bukhari Muslim. And he's got from the Hisam, he's from Tirmidhi, Dawud and Nasa'i. So when he naqluhu, his naql meaning his tradition transmission, his transmission saying is from the Sihah, his transmission saying from the Hisan, is like actually mentioned in the chain. It's not to mention the chain. So he's not any Tom, Dick and Harry. He's a scholar, and he himself is from the thiqa, the authentic people who are reliable, trustworthy. Correct? So his transmission, Imam Baghawi's transmission, and he himself is from those people who are authentic, is like actually mentioned in the chain, meaning in the bayan, you're doing a lecture. So I don't tell you every single hadith. Imam Bukhari heard the hadith, Imam Muslim heard the hadith. I've looked at the hadith and I'm picking and giving to you. So he's giving some hadith and he's telling him, student, this is what you need to know. These are hadith. So you study the meaning of these hadith. But despite this, some people criticize this. Okay, so what did I do? Lakin, however, so it's no issue. Even though critics criticized him, there was no issue. However, lakin laysa ma fihi a'lam. This is the ism of laysa. This is the khabar of laysa. Ma fihi a'lam. Alamun means sign. Alamun means here a sign, a mark. And aghfal means that land which has no sign, no marks, no thing. So he's saying here, so even though there's no need for criticism, but at the end of the day, that land or that thing which has signs, marks, distinguishing characteristics and features is not like ghuflun jama' aghfal, like a land which has no marks. Meaning at the end of the day, it's easy to traverse a land which has some kind of marks, as opposed to a land which has no marks or on. So that which has no alam, that which has alam, which has alama, signs, is better than the aghfal. Yes? Are you following? So because of this, فَاسْتَخَرْتُ اللَّهِ, I sought khair, istakhara, istakhiru, to seek khair. I sought khair from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاسْتَوْفَقْتُ مِنْهُ, istawfaqa from tawfiq, waffaqa yuwaffiqu tawfiq. So I sought khair from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give me khair, وَاسْتَوْفَقْتُ مِنْهُ, and I asked him for tawfiq. Fahim? فَأَعْلَمْتُ مَا أَغْفَلَهُ, I placed a mark on what he left unmarked. فَأَعْلَمْتُ, I placed a mark on what he left unmarked. You understand? So, meaning, what do you mean by that? I mentioned a Sahabi, I said, An Abi Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, An Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha, An Ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, An Jabir ibn Abdullah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And at the end, I put the mukhrij. Who's the mukhrij? The author of the book. Rawahu al-Bukhari, Rawahu Muslim, Rawahu Tirmidhi, Rawahu Abu Dawud, Rawahu Nasa'i. So the mukhrij is the author of the book. So then I added on dhikr sahabi, and I also added on the book is coming from. And Imam Baghawi Masabih Sunnah simply had Qara Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And along with this, فَأَوْدَعْتُ كُلَّ حَدِيثٍ مِّنْهُ, I place every hadith from the compilation في مقره, in its place where it belongs, in the right bab. Yes, and its tartib is very easy. You can easily find the hadith, and it's a very nice tartib. It flows very logically. Yes. So for awda'a is to do wadi'a, place it. So I placed. So I placed every hadith from the book in its place. كما رواه الأئمة What do you have in yours? متقنون. It's supposed to be متقنون. That's supposed to be ta here. Yes? Is it متقنون? Yeah, the ta is missing. Yeah, so I place every hadith in this bab, just as the A'imma al-Mutqinun. Mutqinun means firmly grounded, well-knowledge, well-versed. Just as the A'imma, the well-versed A'imma narrated it. وَالثِّقَاتَ الرَّاسِخُونَ reliable. Again, rasikh means firm, established. Scholars have narrated this. كما رواه الأئمة المتقنون والثقات الراسخون. Understand? Like Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi alayhi, he passed away in 256, and his book is Sahih Bukhari. Abu al-Hussein, Muslim al-Hajjaj al-Qushayri, Imam Bukhari's student, he passed away 5 years later. His book is Sahih Muslim. Wa Abi Abdullah Malik ibn Anas al-Asbahi, Imam Malik, Dar al-Hijrah, he passed away 93 Hijri. He's much more before them, but I guess he put his name third because of these are known as Asah. So Imam Malik rahmatullah, his Muwatta of Imam Malik rahmatullahi alayhi. وأبي عبد الله محمد ibn Idris al-Shafi'i, he's got a book called Musnad al-Shafi'i. Yes, in the from his narration. Similarly, Abdullah Ahmad ibn Muhammad ibn Hanbal al-Shaybani, he passed away before Imam Bukhari. In terms of age, he is his first, Imam Malik's first, Imam Shafi's second, Imam Ahmad is third, Imam Bukhari is fourth, and he's fifth. That's order in terms of dates of death. Are you following? Yes, so it's good to know that Imam Malik is between Imam Malik. He's the teacher of student of Imam Malik is Imam Muhammad rahmatullah alayhi, and Imam Muhammad meaning the student of Imam Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, and the student of Imam Shafi he's a student, and the student of Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi is Imam Ahmad rahmatullah alayhi, and Imam Ahmad rahmatullah is the teacher of Imam Bukhari rahmatullah alayhi. So Imam Bukhari rahmatullah alayhi, his teacher is Imam Ahmad, whose teacher is Imam Shafi, whose teacher is Imam Muhammad, whose teacher is Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi. So it's a very long. So Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, they predated his muhaddithun significantly. So another narrative we have, Imam Tirmidhi, Abu Isa, Muhammad ibn Isa Tirmidhi. He passed away in 279. He's Imam Bukhari's student. Then Imam Abu Dawud al-Sijistani, rahmatullah alayhi, he passed away in 275. He wrote the Sunan of Abu Dawud. One of his teachers is Qa'nabi, and he narrates Malik. So his teacher is Imam Malik's student as well. Yes? And then Abi Abdul Rahman, Ahmad ibn Shu'ayb al-Nasa'i. So he passed away 303. He's got Sunan Nasa'i. Then Ibn Majah rahmatullahi alayhi. Imam Majah, he passed away 273. He's book Sunan Imam Majah. Then you have Abu Muhammad, Abdullah ibn Abdul Rahman al-Darimi. Now Darimi, remember there's two Darimis. One is a Sahib al-Sunnah, and another one is more commonly known in Aqidah. So the one here, Sunan al-Darimi, is Abu Muhammad, Abdullah ibn Abdul Rahman al-Darimi. For him, there's two different Darimis. Then we also have Daraqutni. Daraqutni, his book is not necessarily, okay, we can do that in Ulum Hadith. You got Daraqutni. Imam Bayhaqi, he's got many books. Imam Bayhaqi, he's got a book called Shu'ab al-Iman. He's got Sunan al-Kabir. He's got many hadith books. He was a great muhaddith. And then we have here Abu al-Hasan Razin ibn Muawiyah al-Abdari. So Abdari is from Abdul Dar. So Abdul Dar, we have Abdul Muttalib. So Abdul Muttalib's brother was called Abdul Dar. Abdul Muttalib's brother's children are called Abdari. Instead of Abdadari, it's Abdari. So from that lineage to 520, he wrote a book called Tajdeed al-Siha Sitta. Now there's not much known regarding it. So basically he tried to bring, like Tajdeed means all the Kutub al-Sitta, like bring all the riwayat together. So he's got one book. I cannot find a lot of information regarding him and his book, but he narrates it. It's called, so he said Rawahu Razin. When he says Razin, it means him. He narrated it in his book for him. And apart from them, وَقَلِيلٌ مَعْهُمْ and others. But the majority of the narrations are from the first group. And there's a few from him as well. Imam Bayhaqi is a few of them. Daraqutni is very few. Imam Shafi is very few. Yes? For him, going on he says, وَإِنِّي إِذَا نَسَبْتُ الْحَدِيثَ إِلَيْهِمْ. I'm not going to say the chain of the whole book, of the whole hadith. I'm just going to say, وَإِنِّي إِذَا نَسَبْتُ الْحَدِيثَ إِلَيْهِمْ. When I say, عن عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله تعالى عنه قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إنما الأعمال بالنيات إلى آخره رواه البخاري ومسلم. So when I attribute نسبت الحديث, when I attribute the hadith towards any of those imma, it would be as though I have mentioned asnadtu, the full chain to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, because I'm saying this hadith is mentioned by Imam Bukhari, and Bukhari has a full chain. So go check the full chain there if you need to. I'm not going to mention the book, the hadith, the sanad here, because it'll be too long. The point is just to get the main things in place. Right? لأنهم قد فرغوا منه وأغنونا عنه, because they have finished this job of doing isnad, mention the whole chain. So in 250 Hijri, Imam Bukhari has already done that job. I'm coming here in 7 Hijri to write the chain again. They've already done that job. وَأَغْنَوْنَا عَنْهُ, they've sufficed us from it. So if you want to take the authenticity, just look in Bukhari, just look in Muslim for the chains. You understand? Acha. وَسَرَدْتُ الْكُتُبَ وَالْأَبْوَابَ كَمَا سَرَدَهَا وَاقْتَفَيْتُ أَثَرَهُ فِيهِ. And I have mentioned and quoted the kitab. So it's got kitab al-Iman. And under kitab al-Iman, you have like a subheading, abab. Kitab al-Salah. Then kitab al-Salah you have one. Abwab al-Awqat al-Salah, Abwab al-Fadha'il al-Salah, Abwab kada wa kada. Yes? So the kitab is like a heading 1, heading level 1, heading level 2. So I have mentioned, quoted, written the kutub and the abwab, just as Imam al-Baghawi has done in his Masabih Sunnah, same structure. وَاقْتَفَيْتُ, اقْتَفَى يَقْتَفِي, followed. And I have followed his athar, meaning his steps in the kutub and the abwab. So I've not changed his structure. I've kept his structure, kitab al-Iman, kitab al-Salah, ila akhirih. And what did I do? I قَسَّمْتُ كُلَّ بَابٍ غَالِبًا. Usually, I have divided each bab into 3 fusul. Al-fasl al-awwal is regarding as-sihah. Ma rawahu al-Bukhari wa Muslim. Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim narration. The fasl al-thani is regarding the other kutub. Imam Tirmidhi, Abu Dawud, Imam Nasa'i. And then the fasl al-thalith is then anything he missed out that I thought was relevant, I brought that in. So fasl al-awwal and thani, those hadiths are fine. In fasl al-thalith, you'll get a few more from Bukhari and Muslim, maybe, and you get some other books as well. So in fasl al-thalith, you need to check the authenticity of some of them. In 1 and 2, it's mostly fine, usually. And when it comes to fasl al-thalith, you need to double check to make sure before you quote that. Sometimes there are some weak hadiths in there which are problematic, but generally speaking, maybe they're not hadiths, maybe just an author of the Sahabi, etc. But nonetheless, for the shara of the hadith is very good. Okay? So, أولها, the first fasl, ما أخرجه الشيخان أو أحدهما, is that hadith which shaykhan. Shaykhan in hadith means Bukhari and Muslim. So the first fasl, al-fasl al-awwal, is that those ahadith which shaykhan, or one of the two of them, Imam Bukhari and Muslim, have narrated. Yes. وَاقْتَفَيْتُ بِهِمَا. We stop here, we continue from tomorrow, inshallah. Subhanallah. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So he says here, وَقَسَّمْتُ كُلَّ بَابٍ غَالِبًا عَلَى فُصُولٍ ثَلَاثَةٍ. And usually each bab is comprised of 3 fasl. Each bab is comprised of 3 fasl. What are these 3 fusul? These 3 fusul, أولها ما أخرجه الشيخان. The first is what shaykhan have done takhrij of, meaning they have narrated this. أو أحدهما, or one of the 2 of them. And this refers to Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim rahmatullahi alayhima. Then he says here, وَاقْتَفَيْتُ بِهِمَا, I have sufficed on them, on shaykhan. أي بشيخان أي برواية شيخين. I have sufficed on the riwayah of shaykhain. وَإِنْ اشْتَرَكَ فِيهِ الْغَيْرِ. Even if this wow is wasliya, even if اشترك فيه الغير, other الغير أي المحدثون, even if other muhaddithun are sharik with them or partners in them in narrating this. Meaning, the hadith may be Bukhari, Muslim, and Abu Dawud, and Tirmidhi, and Nasa'i. He wouldn't mention what Tirmidhi, Rawahu Tirmidhi, wa Nasa'i, wal Ibn Majah. He says simply Rawahu Shaykhan. You follow him? When he says Shaykhan have narrated it, it doesn't mean nobody else has narrated it. It just means those 2 have narrated it. I'm not going to mention every single narrator, because when the 2 of them have narrated it, or Bukhari or Muslim have narrated it, then because Imam Bukhari and Muslim's main goal is to narrate Sahih Ahadith, so then I don't need to mention the others as well. لِعُلُوِّ دَرَجَتِهِمَا فِي الرِّوَايَةِ. Why have I sufficed on their names? Because of their high level and lofty level in their narrations. Do you understand? The second fasl, so you have al-fasl al-awwal, al-fasl al-thani, مَا أَوْرَدَهُ غَيْرُهُمَا مِنَ الْأَئِمَّةِ الْمَذْكُورِينَ. The second fasl are those ahadith, مَا أَوْرَدَهُ, those ahadith which A'imma, the other Imam mentioned before, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi, Imam Ahmad, Imam Abu Dawud, Imam Tirmidhi, Imam Nasa'i, Imam Nimaja, Imam Bayhaqi, wa ghayrihima, which they have mentioned. Yes? So these two fasl are basically what is in Masabih Sunnah. What are these? These are in Masabih Sunnah. Are you following? Do you understand? So what is mentioned in Masabih Sunnah, I have put them into Fasl Awwal, Fasl Thani. Fasl Awwal is Shaykhan and Fasl Thani is there, and I put the Bab with this. Correct? And now Fasl Thalith is what I have added on. وَثَالِثُهُمَا, the third of the Fusul, ay Thalithul Fusul. The third Fasl, مَشْتَمَلَ عَلَى مَعْنَى الْبَابِ. مَشْتَمَلَ عَلى مَعْنَى الْبَابِ. Ishtamala to comprise. So we can, Ma. So let's go over here again here. So Ma is the Mawsul, Min is the Bayan. Yes? Okay? So we say here, the third fasl are those suitable additions. Mulhaqat, al-haqa yulhiqu ilhaq, to attach something. So the third chapter are those suitable additions, mashtamala ala ma'na al-bab, which are comprised on the same ma'na, the same topic. You say here topic. The same topic as the chapter. So Imam Baghawi in Masabih Sunnah have not narrated this ahadith, but because they are suitable, they match and they bring benefit, so I have added that on. Ma'a muhafazatin ala sharithati. Maintaining the condition. What's condition? Dhikru sahabi wal mukhrij. Mentioning the sahabi and mentioning the one who has narrated this from the A'immah. Are you following? So if you look at here, the additions, Masabih Sunnah has 4,931 ahadith, about 5,000. Yeah, so roughly, Masabih Sunnah has 5,000 ahadith, and Mishkaat has 6,250 roughly. Just remember that as a thing. So about, yes, so it's, I don't know, about 1/6 and a bit more onto the Masabih Sunnah. You understand? And however, he's mentioned one part in Fasl Thalith. Okay? In Fasl Thalith, one thing is different. In Fasl Awwal, in Fasl Thani, Fasl Awwal is only Bukhari and Muslim's riwayah. In Fasl Thani is the Hisan, what he called the Hisan, the other Imma. In Fasl Thani is added on additional stuff. But what he would say here is, وَإِن كَانَ مَأْثُورًا عَنِ السَّلَفِ وَالْخَلَفِ. Sometimes he brings, the word hadith is, it has different, like, what is it meant by hadith? So normally, when we say hadith, it means what the Prophet ﷺ has said. The word hadith is also used for the Sahaba, even the Tabi'uns, Fatawa, etc. So, but here, so if you want to use that meaning, that Fasl Awwal and Thani and Thalis, they all have what? Fasl Thani and Thalis only have the Prophet's statements, his actions, and his approvals of certain things. In Fasl Thalith, he brings those as well, along with statements of the Salaf, Sahabi's statement. Abdullah ibn Abbas said this, Abdullah ibn Umar said this. He may bring the Khalaf, those who come after them. For example, he would say, Sufyan al-Thawri said this. For him, so where necessary or where beneficial, he would bring a statement of the Salaf and the Khalaf. For him, in Fasl Thani, Fasl Awwal and Fasl Thani don't have those. Everybody following online? You guys following? Yes? Any questions? Acha. Thumma, now saying, well, I've done this, I've taken Masabih Sunnah, I've rearranged it, I've put it into these chapters, I've added on the third fasal. ثم إنك إن فقدت حديثا في باب, if you miss a hadith in the bab, like for example, this hadith was mentioned in Masabih Sunnah in Kitab al-Fitan, but I can't find a Kitab al-Fitan in Mishkaat al-Masabih. You find it? فإن ثم إنك إن فقدت حديثا في باب, if you miss فقد, ماذا تفقدون? What are you missing? If you can't find a hadith in the chapter, in a particular bab, فذلك أن تقرير أسقطه. فأسقطه أن تقرير. I have erased it, removed it, deleted it because of repetition. Why? Because it may have already come in Kitab al-Iman. It may have already come in Kitab al-Salah. Are you following? Sometimes a hadith may have one general, one obvious theme. For example, the Sahabi asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Mal Iman. Where's that hadith going to go? In Kitab al-Iman. And sometimes there may be hadith which can fit in Kitab al-Iman, it can also fit in Kitab al-Du'a. Are you following? So he'll bring it where he thinks is where the dominant theme, he put it in that one. He put it in Kitab al-Du'a, for example. And he will bring it in Kitab al-Iman. So that there's no repetitions in Mishkaat. Are you following? So you won't find repetitions in Mishkaat al-Masabih. It's one hadith, one time, that's it. وَإِن وَجَدْتَ آخَرَ. So one possibility is you find a hadith missing. It's in Masabih al-Sunnah, not in Mishkaat al-Masabih. So you say, well, I've removed it because it was repeated in Masabih al-Sunnah. Number two, وَإِن وَجَدْتَ آخَرَ, أي إن وجدت حديثا آخر. You may find another hadith. It's different to Masabih al-Sunnah. بَعْضَهُ مَتْرُوكًا عَلَى اخْتِصَارِهِ. Some of it is left with اختصار. أو مضموما إليه تمامه. So some hadith is very mukhtasar. The full hadith is not mentioned in Mishkaat. The full hadith is not mentioned in the Mishkaat. Yes? The full hadith is not mentioned in the Mishkaat. And it was not mentioned in Masabih Sunnah as well. And he left it as it is. Or some hadith مضموما إليه تمامه. So matrukan, it was left with its brevity. The hadith were like 5 pages. I've only brought like 1 page, or I've only brought like 1 sentence because that's the main sentence. I left it like this, as it was in Masabih Sunnah. Option A. Option B. أو مضموما مضم يضم attach. أو مضموما تمامه نائب الفاعل. That's the نائب الفاعل of the مضموم. Or the tamam, the rest of the hadith. So sometimes you will find a hadith left with its brevity as it was left in Masabih Sunnah. Sometimes you will find a hadith with the remainder attached to it. I've completed the hadith. I said, no, I brought the full hadith. All of this, sometimes I leave the hadith as it was left brief in Masabih Sunnah. Sometimes I bring it completely and I fulfill it. All of this is here, due to. Means due to. All of this is due to important reasons. So I have left it or added onto it. I have left it as it was, or I have added on the addition because of important reasons. I thought it was beneficial here to have the full hadith. Or I thought, yeah, it was fine having the hadith mukhtasar here. Understood? Now he's saying here, وَإِنْ أَثَرْتَ عَلَى اخْتِلَافٍ فِي الْفَصْلَيْنِ. If you come across any differences in the first two fasl, al-fasl al-awwal, al-fasl al-thani, because those are the original works of Masabih al-Sunnah. So if you find any ikhtilaf in the faslayn, yes? What's this ikhtilaf? Fasl al-awwal should have whose riwayah only? Bukhari and Muslim. And fasl al-thani is going to have the Hisan, the Imam Tirmidhi, Abu Dawud, Nasa'i, and Imam etc. So if you find ذكر غير الشيخين في الأول وذكرهما في الثاني, what's the ikhtilaf? You find ikhtilaf? It doesn't mean difference. So you find here a contradiction to the rule. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. What's the rule? Fasl al-awwal has shaykhain and fasl al-thani has غير shaykhain. If you find a contradiction to this rule, and this mean here means i.e., bayaniya, i.e., you find the mention of someone other than shaykhain in fasl al-awwal, or you find the dhikr of shaykhain in fasl al-thani. That's not how it's supposed to work, is it? Why has that happened? Why have I got a hadith of non-shaykhain in fasl al-awwal and a hadith of shaykhain in fasl al-thani? This is because what's happened is that when Imam Baghawi, Masabih Sunnah mentioned Fasl al-Awwal, he may have used secondary sources. There may be a book which mentions Hadith of Bukhari Muslim, but not from the original Nuskha of Bukhari Muslim. Are you following? Let's say, for example, I want to write a book, and I use Mishkaat al-Masabih. I extract the Hadith from Mishkaat al-Masabih, and I write Mishkaat al-Masabih says Rawah al-Bukhari. That's Rawah Bukhari. Then when somebody comes later and checks it up, you say, well, Mishkaat says Rawah Bukhari, but it's not Bukhari. It's a mistake from Mishkaat. Are you following? So what may have happened, he's saying that there are 2 books which are secondary sources. They're quite comprehensive. The secondary source of Bukhari Muslim, meaning there's 2 books. Let's go over here. You have a book called Al-Jam'ul Sahihain, Bayn al-Sahihain, lil-Humaydi. Imam Humaydi, rahmatullah alayhi. This is not Imam Bukhari's teacher, obviously, because his teacher can't do a Jama' of his book afterwards. Yes, we said Hadith al-Humaydi, that's different. It's not the Humaydi. So he's got a book called Al-Jam'u Bayn al-Sahihain. What he done is that these 2 books, Bukhari and Muslim, are very good. You have to read Bukhari, you have to read Muslim, repetition. If you could get a Jama' and just bring every hadith that's there and remove the repetitions, it'll save you time in it. You got a good source in front of you. Sahih hadith from Bukhari and Muslim, without reading both of them, without repetition. Similarly, there's another book called Jami al-Usul, Ibn al-Athir. The Jami al-Usul, he's now compiled, not the Sahihain, but he's got all the books from the Kutub al-Sittah and put it together in one, and no repetition. So if it's in Tirmidhi, it's in A'mal bin-Niyat, it's in Tirmidhi, it's in Bukhari, so it just come once. So instead of reading looking through the full Kutub al-Sittah, you can just look through these books. So it's possible that Imam Baghawi rahmatullahi alayhi, what did he do? Imam Baghawi rahmatullahi alayhi, he refers on these secondary sources. Are you following? And in there was probably a slight error. That it says Rawahu Muslim, but it's actually not Rawahu Muslim. So because he put it in Fasl al-Awwal, I left it in Fasl al-Awwal. But then I changed it to Rawahu Tirmidhi instead of Rawahu Muslim. And sometimes the hadith in Fasl al-Thani is Rawahu Tirmidhi, but who's also narrated it? Muslim or Bukhari. So it's in Fasl al-Thani. I left it in Fasl al-Thani and I said Rawahu Bukhari in Fasl al-Thani. Do you understand? You following? Anybody online following? Yes? Make sense? So, let's go again. If you come across any difference to the rule I mentioned before, in the first two fasl, i.e., you find somebody other than Shaykhan in Fasl al-Awwal, or you find Shaykhan in Fasl al-Thani, then, he's going on, then note that after pursuing and researching the two books, Al-Jam' Bayn al-Sahihayn, which belong to, which is by Al-Humaydi, and Jami al-Usul, written by Ibn al-Athir. Ibn al-Athir was not mentioned, but if you want to write it, you can mention that Ibn al-Athir is the author of this. After I've done that, what did I do? I relied upon the Sahihayn of Shaykhain and the Matan of Sahihayn, not Humaydi and Ibn al-Athir's book. Are you following? You understand? So I didn't rely on these books. So when I looked at Sahihayn, I found that this is actually not in Bukhari, so I had to change the quotation from Al-Fasl al-Awwal. Do you understand? And you'll find Rawahu Tirmidhi or Abu Dawud in Fasl al-Awwal, for example. And Al-Humaydi, I didn't look at, if Humaydi may have mentioned it somewhere else, but I didn't rely on those. I looked at the original sources. But look at his adab. Yes? He says here, وَإِن رَأَيْتَ اِخْتِلَافًا فِي نَفْسِ الْحَدِيثِ. If you find some differences between my hadith I've mentioned in Mishkaat al-Musabih and the hadith which is mentioned in Masabih al-Sunnah, فَذَلِكَ مِن تَشَعُّبِ طُرُقِ الْحَدِيثِ. That is because of the chains of narrations, tasha'ab, branching off, meaning you have one hadith, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Yes? So sometimes the hadith has slight variations, al-amalu bin-niyya, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّةِ. So the Rawi is narrating the main theme of the hadith. So sometimes they have riwayat bil-ma'na, they narrate the meaning. And sometimes the inna is not there, sometimes the fa is not there, but the main topics are there. You understand? So you look at Muslim, you see one hadith and it's got many different narrations, there are different versions. Do you understand? Are you following? Yes? So if you see a different variation, that my version doesn't have, has inna, his doesn't have inna, or something like this different. So perhaps, he said, that what happens is perhaps, ittala'tu, to become aware. I wasn't aware, I didn't become aware, I didn't come across. I wasn't aware, or I did not come across ala tilka riwayah, on that very narration, which the Shaykh rahmatullahi alayhi, meaning Imam Baghawi rahmatullahi alayhi, has chosen. Salaka, he has treaded. Are you following? So maybe he used that riwayah, and I cannot find that riwayah exact, so I use the riwayah I can find. For him? وَقَلِيلًا مَا, very seldom, قَلِيلًا مَا, very seldom, تَجِدُ, أي تَجِدُنِي, probably mean there. تَجِدُنِي or تَجِدُ? Yeah, تَجِدُ أقول. You will find me saying تَجِدُنِي أقول. It's not supposed to have me in there, but I'm just saying is that. That's what it kind of like means. تَجِدُ أقول. You will find that I say, ما وجدت هذه الرواية في كتب الأصول أو وجدت خلافها فيه. Very seldomly you will find that I will say, I have not found this riwayah in the books of usul, nor have I found something contrary to it. There's a few places, but very, very few places I would say, I can't find this at all. Or the riwayah is completely different in the books. Very seldom. You have to remember, right? Nowadays, we just on the computer, we Google it. You got all the books here, my nice computer printed, everything. In those times, it's much different. So to us, like, you don't value how much hard work has gone on to it. It's like, oh, very simple. It's a book, copy, print, paste, like, you know. It's much different that time. So this is very great work that these guys have done. فَإِذَا وَقَفْتَ عَلَيْهِ. When you come across my statement, in أَنِّي لَمْ أَجِدْ, I did not find. So look at his adab. So he's saying, very seldom you will find me saying, I cannot find this riwayah. But when you do find me saying, when you do, فَإِذَا وَقَفْتَ عَلَيْهِ, when you find a few places in the book where I said, إِنِّي لَمْ أَجِدْهُ, I did not find it. Don't say, oh, Imam Baghawi, I can't believe Imam Baghawi narrated this hadith. It's not even in the books. فَانْسِبِ الْقُصُورَ إِلَيَّ. It's my fault. Attribute the fault to me. Why? لِقِلَّةِ الدِّرَايَةِ. I'm not an expert as Imam Baghawi. He may have had other sources that he found it. I couldn't find it. Do you understand? So he's saying, فَانْسِبِ الْقُصُورَ إِلَيَّ لِقِلَّةِ الدِّرَايَةِ. So say, I don't have that much awareness. I don't have that much insight into all of this. This is why I have made this mistake. So attribute the shortcoming to me, not to Imam Baghawi. Imam Baghawi is a great scholar. You see? Nowadays, what do we say? Oh, he made a mistake in his book. You say, well, you simply say, I don't understand what he's saying here. Perhaps he's right, but I don't understand what he's saying. But we so arrogant thinking, I understood everything, I've understood it, and it is wrong. You see, the adab of the elders to the one before them, to have the adab. So if you're somebody who's elder than you, they made something is not, you don't understand. You say, فَانْسِبِ الْقُصُورَ إِلَيَّ. He said this statement, but according to the rules of fiqh, it doesn't seem to add up. According to the fatwa that I've checked, it doesn't seem to add up. So, wallahu alam. So according to me, I have to say it's impermissible. And he's made to me, according to the apparent, it seems that there's an error. Wallahu alam. Maybe he has some other source that he doesn't have, but I am not responsible for that. I'm responsible for what I have in front of me, so I would say this is an error. But it could be that he has other sources. Say things like this to more respectful. Not just God saying, oh, he's a jahil, he's ignorant, doesn't know what he's saying. Yes? The Prophet ﷺ said, when the last part of the ummah will curse the first part of the ummah, then the sa'a is very close. Just have respect for those who come before us. So, فَانْسِبِ الْقُصُورَ إِلَيَّ. Attribute the qusur and the fault to me. La ila janabi shaykh, not to the lofty shaykh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate his qadr fi darain. Hasha lillahi min dhalik. That's very bad. Hasha, meaning to attribute a fault to him and to blame him. No, I don't want to do that. He says, Rahimallahu man. May Allah have mercy upon that person. Mawsul. It's a sila. Upon that person. Which person? إِذَا وَقَفَ عَلَى ذَلِكَ. When he comes across that riwayah that I cannot find. نَبَّهَنَا عَلَيْهِ. He informs us that, yeah, I found it. So he still keeps it open. I cannot find it, so it's my shortcoming. And if you do find this riwayah, then نَبَّهَنَا عَلَيْهِ. If he shows me, say, look, I found it, then may Allah have mercy upon him. وَأَرْشَدَنَا طَرِيقَ الصَّوَابِ. So may Allah have mercy upon that person. When he comes across that tariq, that riwayah that I couldn't find, he informs us to it, and arshadana tariq as-sawab, and he guides us to the correct path. Then I will make dua from that Allah gives him mercy. Yes? Fahim? Walam alu juhdan. Ala ya'lu, to leave any stone unturned, to be negligent. So lam alu juhdan, I did not leave any effort. I tried my best. Lam alu juhdan. Comes Quran. La ya'lunakum khabala. I did not leave any stone unturned. I did not neglect any effort. Lam alu juhdan. I did not neglect any effort fit tanqir, in inspecting wa taftish and scrutinizing biqadri al-wus'i wa taqa. Biqadri, be according to qadr, amount of my ability and strength. وَنَقَلْتُ ذَلِكَ الْإِخْتِلَافِ كَمَا وَجَدْتُ. And I then narrated this ikhtilaf and these differences as I have found them. So I tried my best to come to a conclusion regarding the riwayah, etc. But then I've mentioned it as I found it. Acha. Then after that, sometimes there's a place where the Rawi may have mentioned the hadith is weak. Not the Rawi, the book, the Sahib al-Kitab, Imam Tirmidhi have mentioned, Imam Nasai may have mentioned that this riwayah is weak. وَمَا أَشَارَ إِلَيْهِ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ. So the Musannif rahmatullahi alayhi, the fa'il is Imam Baghawi. So Imam Baghawi, ma, min. So the gharib or the da'if or the ghayrihima, when he then kalam like this, when he's an ishara to the hadith being gharib, hadith being weak, the hadith having some other interesting qualities in terms of the hadith being like that kind of aspect, weak, etc. So what those things he then ishara towards, bayyantu wajhu ghaliban. Usually I have explained it. If you say, well, if it's hadith da'if, I would say the rawi of the hadith fulan is da'if. So usually I have mentioned it. وَمَا لَمْ يُشِرْ إِلَيْهِ مِمَّا فِي الْأُصُولِ. And those gharib and da'if things which he did not point out, even though it has been pointed out in the usul. Let's say Imam Tirmidhi has pointed out that it's weak hadith, but Imam Baghawi did not point it out. Or Imam Tirmidhi has mentioned something regarding the hadith, and Imam Baghawi did not point it out. And those things, lam yushir ilayhi, to which Imam Baghawi did not point out, which are mentioned in the original books, then I just followed his. I didn't go and add on more stuff. فَقَدْ قَفَّيْتُهُ فِي تَرْكِهِ. Again, iktafa, qaffa is to follow. then I followed him in leaving it. I said, okay, he didn't mention it, I'm also going to mention it. إِلَّا فِي مَوَاضِعَ لِغَرَضٍ. Except in a few places. There's few places, Imam Baghawi did not mention the gharib and the da'if, but I thought it was necessary to mention it لِغَرَضٍ, because of a particular reason. Acha. وَرُبَّمَا تَجِدُ مَوَاضِعَ مُهْمَلَةٍ. This is a mistake here. مُهْمَلَةٍ. The second has a mistake. You will find a few places, muhmala, where there's a blank. Meaning after the hadith, it doesn't say rawahu fulan. It doesn't say the mukhrij, meaning the musannif who has mentioned the book has not been, I've not mentioned it. Yes? Why is this? وَذَلِكَ حَيْثُ لَمْ أَطَّلِعْ عَلَىٰ رَاوِيهِ. I don't know who narrated the hadith. I couldn't find it. Yes? فَتَرَكْتُ الْبَيَاض. I left a white space there. That if you find it, put it in. Yes? You understand? I couldn't find who narrated the hadith. I looked in the books of Kutub al-Sitta, I looked in the Jami al-Usul, I looked in Jami al-Sahihain, I looked everywhere, I couldn't find it, so I left a white space. فَإِنْ أَثَرْتَ عَلَيْهِ فَأَلْحِقُ بِهِ. If you find out who it is, then you add it on later on. Yes? You understand? أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ جَزَاءً. By doing this, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for completing something that I was not able to do. وَسَمَّيْتُ الْكِتَابَ مِن مِشْكَاتِ الْمَصَابِيح. And I call this book what? The niche of the Masabih. You get how the name works now? So Imam Baghawi's book is called Masabih Sunnah, candles of the Sunnah. What does candles do? It gives you light, nur in the dhulumat. So Imam Baghawi called his book Masabih Sunnah. What do you call it? Masabih Sunnah. So then I called mine the Mishkaat. So I place his misbah into my Mishkaat. وأسأل الله التوفيق والإعانة والهداية والصيانة وتيسير ما أقصده. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for tawfiq, for assistance, for guidance, for protection, and ease in what I have intended to do. And I also ask him, so I ask Allah for tawfiq, ma'atuf alayh, and all these ma'atuf. And the last ma'atuf is, أن ينفعني في الحياة, that Allah grants me benefit in this world, وبعد الممات, and after death. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give benefit to me, and then what's from the jabni, benefit me and jami' al-muslimin, and benefit all the Muslim men and all the Muslim women. Hasbuya Allah, Allah is sufficient for me. Wa ni'mal wakil, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one who is guardian. Wala hawla wala quwwata. There's no quwwah, and there's no power, there's no might, there's no strength, no ability to do good, no ability to stay away from sins. We are all helpless. Illa billah al-aziz al-hakim, unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is almighty and all-wise, gives us ability to do something. Understood? So that is the end of the Muqaddimah of Mishkaat. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the studying of Mishkaat easy. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.